So we will now move to the French part of this session. As you can see is my friend Michael Raulet, who will talk about sustainable TV distribution by delivering universal DVB-I TV services. In America there's ATSC 3, and in Europe DVB-I is popular. And Michael, this is a joint research with a lot of people, so please take it away.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a joint contribution from a French project. So there is no, that's not ATEM only. So that's a joint contribution from ATEM, Orange, NNSys, VIXS Orca, and IETR. So people from ATEM is doing in this project the EDN, so the video compression and the packaging. I will explain here there is the MUX. There is no MUX in this particular project. IETR is doing the decoder that is integrated into the VIXS Orca player. Orange is providing the use case for this particular project. So it's a French funded project, even more because it's Brittany, so it's part of Brittany only, so part of France. So Orange was willing to evaluate 5G and also technology that can reduce the impact of their current video on their carbon impact. So what we have today is that if we look at the IPTV, we do IPTV EDAN plus a MUX. If we do the OTT, we do another EDAN with an origin CDN. So we are duplicating things today. To target, if we go over 5G, we will do Dash. If we do OTT, we may have other formats. So we are trying also to reduce the number of formats that we are getting. So first, we will have a wide range of devices. We don't have the clock that is running, so I don't know when I was starting. We have a wide range of devices that we want to target. We have also several networks that we want to target at the same time. So that's also something that we want to deliver. And we have a redundancy here in this particular use case where we have multiple EDANs that are available. So we discussed that at DVB. And the idea here is to reduce the number of encodes that we are doing in order to have a single encode for several use cases. So we only have one single EDN, one single origin and CDN, and we use DVB-I to provide different. So DVB-I is an XML format that provides you several possibilities to receive the content. So you can look at it. Can I go there? Yes. So for instance, if you are here, you get access to this particular, on this particular device. So you put an entry point in this XML format, and then you will select the channels that you are getting. So if every one of them are available at the same time, then you can switch from the mobile network to the IPTV network because you will have them almost at the same time. So DVB-I is a European technology. Something that is similar in the US is a TSC that is providing a way to signal things, and then you only have a single format. So that was the second technology that we were willing to do because DVB-I was there to signal that we have several ways to receive the content, either over IPTV or over a 5G network or over OTT. But for some of the use cases, we were willing to multicast them in order to reduce a bit the number of OTT or single streams that we are getting. So one way to see that is that today we do OTT, so we have a single stream per user, or we do DVB-MABR, that is the multicast technology from DVB that is enabling to have a single stream to multiple users. And since Orange is a mobile operator, we were looking also at fixed wireless access and see whether DVB-MABR cannot be also one way to receive the content on the device. And at the same period in 3GPP, there is the release 17 and release 18 that is working on 5G MBS, that is the multicast broadcast system, in order to enable this kind of use cases. So we know that we don't have a lot of devices available today, so we were using 4G LTE for that today in the project, but the idea here is to use a single format for encapsulation in order to multicast when there is a need to multicast the content. So we use CMAF as a container for the video. We use DVB-MABR to do the multicast, and we use DVB-I to do the signaling over multiple networks. We can use either HEVC or VVC, that works for both. Here we will explain why we were using VVC, because the throughputs on the device has a lot of impact, and I will come back to that later. So the device, if you have less throughputs, then will consume less. So we were also trying to use the latest technology for VVC. We understand at the same time VVC has a lot of impact on the device itself because you have to renew the device. If you don't have a device that supports VVC, either you do that in software or you need to renew it if you want to have it in hardware. So we were looking at the full chain, so from the encoder, the packager, the CDN, the core network, the access network, and also the devices itself. So we've studied from ViAccess Orca for the device. We've studied from ATEM on the encoder, the packager, and the CDN. So on the impact of the streaming on the infrastructure, on total infrastructure, is not so important. So this is what you are getting, that the small bars that you are seeing on close to the biggest black bar. The big black bar is the power consumption of the full infrastructure that is composed of TVs and data center. And in the end, the part that is very low here is the streaming part. So the streaming part doesn't have a lot of impact in the end on the full end-to-end infrastructure, because you have to put power on all the device. So then how you can leverage that is mostly on the device itself. So you can see on the right, can I move this? Yes. Here it's video consumption at various resolutions. And you can see that the impact of the video resolution has a lot of impact on the consumption itself. So if you reduce the bit rate, then you are consuming less on the device. And this is where, on the mobile at least, so for fixed device, you don't have a lot of impact. But on a mobile device, then you can reduce the impact on the device itself. Then some of the people, so if we come back to here, the impact of the bit rate has a lot of importance and will reduce a lot the impact of the mobile network. So then when we put the focus on the encoder itself, it's not good for a single encoder because we will consume more with VVC, but it has a lot of impact on the device because we will consume less on the device because we send less information to the device to be able to decode that on the mobile. So VVC is five times more complex than HEVC, maybe less in the future. We will do a lot of optimization, but it's almost the range between 3 to 5 times more complex than HEVC. If you look at the decoder itself, it's between 1.5 to 2 more complex than a current HEVC decoder. But it has a huge savings on the transmission. For one single asset that you send, there are several decoders that will have access to it. So then, on the decoder itself, it has a lot of impact. So historically, you see also the impact of all the codec This is what we are getting from the past codec. So I'll come back to the device here. So on the device itself, we did the measure of HEVC and VVC, the consumption for 720p at 5 megabits per second, and the consumption of 720p at 3 megabits per second with two different codecs, HEVC and VVC. So yes, it consumes a bit more for the VVC codec on the device for the same resolution because of the software that is running on top of it. That is a bit more complex. But on the transmission itself on the device, it consumes less. And in the end, you have less consumption in between HEVC and VVC. This is some study that has been demonstrated during the IBC 2022 by Viastek Orca that is part of the project. On the CDN, so we want to use CMAF. So here we are taking an example about a tier 1 operator that is having 1 million subscribers with a lot of VOD assets, so 50,000 hours. With a catch-up TV library of 200 linear services for the 3 last days. And they have two formats, HLS and Dash. And today they will use 260 terabytes per pop. But with the use of CMAF, then you can divide by 2. We go even more because we want to use low latency HLS, so CMAF adoptions enable that. We were looking also at when we could have CMAF available for different devices. So for iOS devices, you have today, since iOS 10, you have the support of CMAF. And with the upgrade that everybody is doing on the mobile phone, then you have the support of CMAF for a lot of devices. So 99% of them is currently supporting CMAF. For Android, it's available since the version 7.1, and we expect to have 95% of the devices that are supporting it. The browsers are currently fully supporting this with the EME and the MSE support. There is one thing that we were looking at as well is the support of CBCS for the TV. We expect that it is less than what we could do for the other devices. So this is where we may have an issue for some of the devices that are smart TV that are available on the market. And for low latency, the support of byte range enable also the way that we can divide by 2 the number on the CDN. We did an assumption on the multicast ABR, so the same. This particular tier 1 operator is having 50 live TV services plus 400 that are less popular. So they use CDN for some of them and multicast ABR for others. And they were looking, so that was dividing by 10 their caches and gave them a reduction by 60% in terms of energy consumption. But you need an additional software on the device that is costing 170 milliwatts per gateway. We did some analysis also on the access network, so that was conducted by Enensys in this particular project. We were using the 5G MBS, or at least we were simulating it, allowing multicast broadcast for a 5G network. And we check if it was something that was having an impact on the access network itself. So it highly depends on the number of cells that you are putting and the density itself, and the audience that you are getting also on this particular cell. So the idea behind that was for the highly demanded channel that you go to multicast, so you switch automatically to multicast. So that was also presented at the IBC paper. So that's by Enensys that is part of this particular project. So to conclude in this particular project, so VVC has, let's say, has a low, is not very good for green when you look at the encoder itself, but for the CDN, the core network and the access network, it is going to be a bit more green. When we look at CMAF, CMAF is reducing a lot the impact on the CDN and the packager. Multicast ABR is also having some impact for the delivery. It has a less good impact on the device itself. And 5G MBS is providing a good way of distributing the content for high demand content. Finish my talk. So this is also standardization activity that are ongoing, and we expect to have this enabled in the market in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? It's good to see so much attention to energy uses. If there is no question from the room, I would have one. So you said TVs, it doesn't make any difference what bitrate they consume, right?
Yeah.
For mobile devices, it makes a big difference what bitrate they consume. But what if we could entice people to switch off their TV and to use a mobile device instead? Would that give us a power saving?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Probably yes, because you are not plugged. You are not plugged all the time, so it's taking resources on the cell, but not otherwise. So you need to charge it. I really believe that yeah. Maybe.
Because it's probably because most of the power consumption on the TV is from this emitting the light.
Yeah.
And a mobile device emits much less light. Questions? No? Then we go to the last. Thank you very much, Mikael. Sorry.